everybody. I am Katie Swayne, Director of Alumni Affairs at Shepherd University, and this is our very first Alumni Highlight podcast. And I have a few people with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves as well. Randy, would you like to go?
Yeah, so hello everybody. Randy Friend, current president of the Alumni Association. Super excited for all of you to join us today as we kind of embark on this brand new format. Katie, you want to go next?
Sure. Well, thank you both for having me and Laura. Definitely excited to be able to chat and share about my wonderful time at Shepherd and how it's impacted me. So my name is Katie Warehime. I graduated from Shepherd in 2009. I have my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I also minored in education while I was there. Today, I work as the Associate Director of Program Delivery and Executive Coaching for UVA or University of Virginia Darden School of Business in their executive education and lifelong learning. And I primarily focus on our military and government programs. So
Nice.
just a little bit about me.
Thank you, Katie. Laura?
Did I have to go after that?
Oh.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Kelly. When I was in my good old Shepherd days, I was Laura Harkins. I'm a '04 to '08 alumni. Go Ram Pack. I started off as a fitness exercise science major and actually added on therapeutic recreation. Danielle, one of our basketball teammates, introduced me to that my freshman year of college. So very blessed that I got that dual concentration because now I run my own business. It's Empower Recreational Therapy, and it is a mobile service that provides fitness and exercise science and rec therapy to older adults in the North Atlanta area. So happy to be here and to support Katie and to represent Shepherd University Ram.
Clearly, if we need somebody to come in and do the announcement, Laura, your application has officially been submitted, right? So,
Can't help it.
yeah, no, thank you both. Well, you probably heard it enough as you on your time on the court, right? You're like, if you woke up in dreams of just hearing that phrase, I'm sure. So it's super exciting for me to be a part of this conversation because I was actually working at Shepherd at the time both of you were there. So I got to work very closely with Melanie, and I think Gail was there at that time as well. So I was over the admissions and enrollment area during your time as students there. And I always used to joke, I'm like, all the male sports, they needed our time. The female sports needed the money from us, right? So we wanted to make sure we could contribute as much of that. So Katie, when you got your opportunity to be submitted to the Hall of Fame, so congratulations on that as an amazing thing on its own. Your story that you shared with that entire group was absolutely amazing. And so it really kind of hit home for me of like how much that connection for Shepherd can be for people. Even though when, it's kind of you even said it during that day was, what is this school? I've never really heard of it. I was at a Division I. You kind of expect those opportunities there, but you really had some amazing opportunities. So my hope for kind of part of our conversation is that you can share a little bit of that same story you shared that day with us. And then, obviously, Laura, you were a big part of that as well. We would love to be able to hear kind of your side of that. So Katie, if you don't mind starting us off with that, that'd be great.
Of course, yeah. Well, thank you. And it was definitely an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame among my great teammate, Laura. And so, I had a good person to follow in footsteps. And, again, it's kind of like a full circle moment. So Laura and I grew up near each other, about 30 minutes apart from each other, but we never met until that day that I came to Shepherd. And when I was looking to transfer, my dad actually Googled Laura to see where she ended up because Laura and I were both player of the year the same year. So her junior year in high school and my sophomore year in high school, we were our division's players of the year, which again, the heading of the article was like the best is yet to come. And if that isn't like telling of our journey together for almost 20 years, I think now, maybe not that many, but yeah, it's been a while that we've been in each other's lives. And so when, again, I was looking to transfer, my dad looked up where Laura was, and I had never heard of Shepherd. It wasn't on my radar when I was in high school and looking to play basketball. And as I said, my dad is always right, and so he just knew about these things. And when I arrived on Shepherd's campus, he said, this is where I was supposed to be, and it truly just kind of went from there. I remember, the team driving up in a minivan, which Laura drove, and I was like, who are these people? The school I was at was right outside New York City. So it was a totally different landscape from where I was. But again, there's just something about the Ram Pack and being a part of this team for 2 years that has just been so life-changing for me.
Yeah, and Laura, do you remember kind of driving up? Because I'm certain if it was a university van, there's no doubt in my mind you had all the permissions to drive that. I have no doubt. Do you kind of remember that moment a little bit, or?
Oh, I absolutely do. I remember when I first was told that Katie Warehime was going to be touring at Shepherd University, and I literally looked at Coach and I was like, if she comes, we're going to win it all. Like that was just like our standpoint. Because again, I had read about her throughout my high school, and I was just like, what? This is insane. So of course, I pulled out like the best vehicle I could find, right, which is the minivan. Um, I won't go into the details of that. Let's just say that my car was in the shop, so I was driving my mom's minivan. So humble beginnings, my friends. But anyway, it's wild because Katie had been through so much through Division One, and for her to just kind of pick herself up and to kind of be vulnerable and tell us some of what she went through, and it was just like an immediate bond and friendship. And I just remember walking around with her on campus. I was like, "Do you like to dance?" She's like, "Do I?" So like we just had like this immediate bond of just like music and sports. And Katie came and she was literally the missing piece to our team. And I give a lot of credit to Coach Runner and Coach Ford as well, because that year we were actually ranked to be sixth in the conference. And Coach started this chant called Yeah Champ. And basically, we picked out our championship rings before the season,
Ooh.
ranked sixth in the conference. And everybody had this psychology of, we're going to do this. Like, this is our year. This, like, Katie is the missing piece. And, like, how many people can say that in their lives? We made it all happen together. So it's a pretty
Yeah.
incredible story.
I got
That is
chills.
cool.
I
I
got
mean, like,
chills.
I know, like literally picking out I'm like, what kind of Indiana football like mind,
Right?
right idea is that? That's super cool. So as Katie mentioned, Laura, she kind of knew of you before she came to Shepherd. Did you have that same type of knowledge? I mean, it sounds like you did, kind of knowing that when she came on campus a little bit from that perspective. Is that kind of an accurate statement?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And actually, we ran against each other in high school track, which is really funny because, to be completely honest, I really was only good at one race in high school, and it was just one lap, 400-meter.
Yep.
So I was always like, that was the one that I took very seriously. I was very competitive in it. And Katie and I ran against each other in the 4x4. And I'll let Katie tell you her first impression of me in high school because it's actually pretty embarrassing.
No, it's pretty embarrassing and pretty accurate though, because now knowing Laura for all these years, so I remember it was like a super cold, rainy, it's like the last run of the meet, and there was this girl, didn't know it was Laura, and my team is like huddled and we're like trying to warm up, and all I see is a girl in like bright blue, because those were her school colors, spandex, long spandex pants, and she's just jumping up and down, and we were like, who is this girl? Like, what is she doing? And she was just so full of energy, and I'm like, this girl is out of control.
Love it.
Little did I know, like, she was going to become my best friend. Like it really was. We had so many moments of just like our paths not really crossing. But, I will have to say, I learned about Laura from her dad. So her dad used to ref my high school games. Her dad was a ref in the area, and we knew him as Disco Joe because he would moonwalk down the court when he would call like a walk, and like everything that he did was like dancing style. And so, again, knowing Laura now totally tracks. But I remember I was warming up for a game and her dad came up. I'm literally warming up and he's like, "Do you know my daughter?" It's like, "No." And he's like, "Laura Harkins, do you know my daughter?" It's like, "I do not know your daughter, sir." And again, it's just all these like moments that, now like knowing her parents and loving her parents and her dad and just her, again, there were so many just, again, full circle moments that it all has kind of played out the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty amazing. It sounds like Laura, clearly you got your dance moves from your dad. From kind of how the story goes here. So, as you guys had kind of continued through, you got through the championship year. Can you kind of tell us a little bit, and those who are joining us today, a little bit about kind of how your relationship has, I would probably even say grown and kind of been through some ups and downs. I'm not going to say how many years, because then that's even going to tell how many years it's been since I was a student there. But for this journey we're all on, just kind of share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go first because how do I put this into words? Even before I met Katie, I believed in this woman, right? Like I just believed in, like I've never believed in something so much that I've never, like it's just I can't even explain it. So just to have that feeling of like knowing she was coming and being so confident and sure in her, like that's just kind of sets the tone for like the rest of our friendship. And she's always pushed me on and off the court. So I'll never forget when we were in the Butcher Center and like actually starting to like practice with her. Katie would like get a rebound and I ran track, right? And this girl be gone. I'm like, oh, this is legit. Like this girl, this is D1, right? Like this girl pushed me from day one. She was like, bye, right? So she was always somebody that pushed you on the court, but she also pushed me off the court as a person. And I'll try not to get emotional. But what I mean by that is like Katie's the type of person where, if you don't know her, you might take it the wrong way, but like she's got a big heart. So she'll be the one to be like, Laura, like, let's think about that, right? Like she'll be the one to like address it because she cares about you as a person. And I've learned so much in my own personal journey and just what I went through with losing my dad and just different things throughout all the ups and downs, like you were saying, Randy, of life. And like Katie has really taught me so much about leaning on people and just being authentically yourself. I just really appreciate that about Katie because we also bring the humor to it, right? You can't get through this world
No.
without humor and friendship. So I really admire that in Katie.
Nice. Yeah, Katie, you want to add anything to that? I mean, obviously, it's a lot. You pat yourself on the back. You have every opportunity for that now. But yeah, I mean, what do you want to add to that, maybe?
I can only say, the same about Laura's. I think people used to like not be able to tell us apart on the court, because we do kind of look a lot alike. And I
Yeah,
think our differences and our similarities are what kind of just make us, kind of one. We always joke that it's like going to be us at the end because it's just all these things keep happening in life and, we've just kind of stuck together. And when you think about it, Laura and I were only together for 1 year at Shepherd. And what we went through in that year has maintained this friendship of, I can call Laura at any time and I know that she's going to pick up and she's going to be there for me. And like she said, we've laughed through a lot of pain and we've had a lot of great times. I mean, we're still dancing. We just went out and danced, this summer, that's like, we just have some of the same passions. And I think growing up in Pennsylvania and having such wonderful parents and families has just kind of set that foundation for us. And, I think Laura was selling herself short. I mean, she's the CEO of her company. She started that company, she believed in herself and, she did something that no one else has ever done. And I think that's, just how Laura is as a person. My dad likes to say, you can't be around Laura and not have fun. I mean, she just brings the personality to everything that she does. I still remember when I came for my official visit, Laura was like doing some of her internship and she came back and she was like, Taz, like we like to say sometimes, she was just like full of this energy and she's like, let me take you. And she just took me around Shepherd. And I think from that moment, it just kind of, bonded us. And like she said, it's just, I can't imagine life without Laura. So.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's so funny. I have somebody referred to that kind of energy, like you said, Taz. Somebody once told me it was like, you find a person who has golden retriever energy. Like they're just constantly like, yeah, let's go, right? And so, having people in your life like that can be so impactful. And even as Laura, as Katie said about you being the CEO of your own company and being able to kind of have those opportunities and really kind of push each other along, it's a beautiful story, honestly. I'm curious, Laura, and Katie, you were over in Europe playing ball for a bit, right? Laura, did you ever get a chance to go and see her play? Or I mean, I'm assuming you probably followed, but I didn't know if you got.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to see her play. Gosh, but I tell you what, I feel like she still could. I don't know. It's just wild to me. I mean, Katie can still like she still coaches high school now, and it's just amazing to me because I haven't played basketball in a long time, and I'm just afraid of what that would look like. But Katie is still doing her thing. But yeah, I mean, Katie, what was your accolades in Germany?
I don't remember. No, I mean,
Really?
again, I had success there and it was a great year. And it was, again, I very driven and goal setting as a kid. And that was one of my goals was to play professional basketball. And when I was growing up or when we were growing up, it was the NBA. There was no WNBA. You didn't really hear about going over to play professionally. And so when the WNBA came about and I was like, well, I know I'm not going there, but the opportunity came to go to Germany and it was just a lifelong dream and, a free trip to Europe. And, my parents were able to come over and my brother came over and were able to see me play. And so, yeah, it was just a great year. And then, after that, I went to Clemson and again, Laura was in Atlanta. And so we were only about 2 hours apart. And so we were able to hang out a lot there as well. So again, we've just kind of, our lives have always kind of had this parallel path together, even when we didn't think they would.
That's so awesome. That's awesome. And so, Laura, are you still in the Atlanta area now?
I
Is that
am.
correct?
Yep.
And Katie, where are you at? Are you
I'm in Northern Virginia.
okay? So, so it's nice to at least be able to kind of keep that togetherness, even though you guys are, a little bit apart from there. So, as two people that have kind of grown together, right? I didn't know the part where you guys had only played together for a year. So that part is really cool about you talk about finding your person, right? And Katie, I love the fact that you said, one day we're going to be the last two standing and sometimes, it's a little Thelma and Louise maybe, right? But, this is kind of a good scenario where you have two people that are really strong together. Seeing that, as a coach, and obviously Laura as a CEO, and you really kind of help people in their ways. What's some kind of thoughts or words of wisdom maybe you have for two current ball players or two current Shepherd students who are now meeting their person? Like, have you ever had a chance to kind of reflect on that and think, man, I would tell somebody this, in that scenario when my person pulls up in a minivan that their mom drives, right? Whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, you're forming friendships for life, right? Because even, our teammates now, sure, talk all the time, but it's just an unbreakable bond as an athlete with your teammates. Just because you're getting up early in the morning, right? You're just having all those memories for those years. And my gosh, my freshman year with our six freshmen that were coming in, I mean, it is just the biggest melting pot of just the most unique individuals I think I've ever met. That's something I've really appreciated about Shepherd is just the diversity, and just really just you're in the middle of nowhere, but you're not, right? Like it's just like the best kept hidden secret. And I guess the best thing I would tell people is just that it's lifelong friendships, so of course, enjoy your academics, get the volunteer experience, get your hands on, because I mean, that's really what shaped I would not be where I am today without the academics, but also like you're forming bonds for life. The other part I would add is the families. I think that's something that I really treasured was, our families would all sit together, right? And just really making it a true community, right? That's what Shepherd is it's not just going there looking at your statistics, right? And your wins and losses are great, but it's also like this is a family. And I think that's also what made it unique to me when I visited Shepherd initially, is just that community.
Yeah. Katie, anything to add to that?
I would just say, as Laura said, Coach Renner came up with a yeah champ, and that was really like our shared goal. Like we really believed that we were going to win the championship, and we all knew what our role was and what our job was, and we held each other accountable. And it wasn't, fighting for like who was going to be, the leading scorer, who's going to do this game. Like we just wanted to win, and we understood as a team that's what it takes. Is everyone has to know their role. And like Laura said, we just had so much fun together and really just valued each individual person and what they brought to our team on and off the court. And, the bonds that we really did make have, stayed together. And, at my Hall of Fame, like I think it's just a testament to our team. It was pouring down raining at halftime of the football game. And, all of my teammates were there and my families were there in the stands, just like cheering for me, not to get emotional, but it just shows you, the bond that Shepherd has brought us to in the Ram Pack. And just, I know that I can call any one of those people. And even if I haven't seen them in a year, I know that they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to support me, through anything. And I just, am so grateful for that. And I think anyone who plays sports, I tell, our girls here is, soak it up, because there's not very as your adult that you can play basketball, which you love, travel, go out to meals, get free t-shirts, do all these things with your friends, like that. You don't get that opportunity when you're an adult. So really just cherish those moments that you have together.
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah, it's as we kind of wrap up here, I really appreciate both of you telling your story to us, sharing it with everybody here. I think it's such a cool experience just to hear folks that have really made that connection over time, and really kind of Laura, as you said, I think you said it really nicely, was like having that person who kind of supports you to push you to that next level, right? Even off the court, right? I would gather to say there's probably opportunities, as Laura, you went and stepped into this idea of being a CEO of your own company. Like that comes with its own challenges, right? And being able to have somebody that's in your corner and cheering you on to be able to do that is so impactful. So
Right. And also call you out and tell you no.
yeah, I didn't want to call her out on that,
I
right?
mean,
But yeah, it's always the double-edged sword for all of us to be able to have that. But I think that somebody will tell you you're wrong. That's what they'll do, right?
In the nicest way possible. In the nicest way
the
possible that I
sandwich
can.
approach.
Yeah.
That's what everybody always says, right? They'll always tell you the nicest way, but it never feels the best. So no, that's super cool. So again, I want to thank you both so much for taking the time out of your schedule and sharing with us your incredible story. Laura, I'll give you a chance if you want to plug your company a little bit. Please take a moment and do that. We love to promote businesses here that are alumni based. Katie and I are big on that initiative. So if you want to take a second and do that, we'd love for you to have that moment.
Yeah, sure. When my dad had a stroke my freshman year of college at Shepherd, I always was trying to improve access to recreational therapy, kind of my driving force. So, Empower Recreational Therapy, we're in North Atlanta, Georgia. We provide individual and group services primarily for adults 50 plus. We do have some younger clients, but just basically what's life like happens, right? Life hits a lot of different ways, physical, mental health, and we come in there and we're kind of that second hope. We really focus on quality of life and improving that. So very proud and honored to provide that platform for people.
That's amazing. I mean, that's huge in so many ways, and giving those people that opportunity for that quality is something a lot of folks need. Absolutely. So,
Yeah, who knows?
thank
Maybe
you for
one day it'll
filling
be
that
a
need.
franchise in Shepherdstown.
Hey, look, we're all for it. So, make that happen as we can, or at least in Northern Virginia, right? We got to get you up there, Katie. I'm
There
sure
you
has a
go.
connection
Oh yeah.
somehow, some way, right? So again, thank you both. Want to let all of our viewers know, hey, the alumni game for women's basketball, I think it's what, February 7th, right, Katie?
Yep. Basketball Alumni Day. I'm sure you both have maybe seen the email invitations or something on social media, or even from the coaches. I know they've been reaching out to alums. February 7th, we're going to have a skybox reception in the Starkey Skybox during both games. So you can come hang out in the skybox the whole time. So yeah, that'll be February 7th. I believe the women's game starts at 1 and the men's game starts at 3. So if you're around and able to come up, come join us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, for those of us who are joining us on this very first digital podcast, we're trying to, come into the 20th century at some level, right? And so, we really appreciate everybody joining us. Look, if you know of any other alumni incredible stories, or the people who've lived through them, you want to share something that's interesting, or you know somebody who should share something interesting with us here from the Alumni Association, and thinking this would be a great format, please reach out to myself, reach out to Katie through any of the social media tracks, and we'll be certain to try to keep this moving forward. Again, Katie and Laura, thank you both so much for your time today, and go Rams.
Ramble.
Get
I love
you.
it.